Hey, and welcome to Writing Momentum, the podcast where you can discover how to have writing momentum.
That's great.
I'm Christopher Maselli. I'm here with my wife, Gina. How's it going today, Gina?
It's going really well. We're at the
Uh,
end of our day, but we wanted to make sure we got
yes.
down here so that I say down here because we were in our office,
Yeah.
but we're ready to record and share the 3 best ways to publish a book in 2023.
3 best ways to publish a book in
Yeah.
2023. Yeah, this is really good. This is probably one of the most common questions we get, right? Is
Mhm.
how do I publish my book? And the truth is, there are 3 ways that you might do it. But before we get to that, we just want to cover a few things. One, you need to make sure your book is written. I think that goes without saying, fully written. You want to make sure it's edited, right? It's all ready to go, that it reads well. Now, if you go with certain kinds of publishing, they may have editors that go over your manuscript for you, but in order to sell your book to a publisher, it still needs to be edited and
Yeah.
read well. And then you may even want to format it if you're going to self-publish, and we're going to talk about those things. So if you're trying to get into that groove, having your book written, edited, and formatted, we highly recommend that you just set some goals for every 6 weeks is what we like to do. And to help you do that, we have a free ebook. It's called Move the Needle, and it's 6 weeks to your next major accomplishment. Just go onto writingmomentum.com and you can download that ebook. And what it does is it guides you through how to set SMART goals as an author so that you can make sure that you're writing your material, you're editing your material, you're formatting it, you're getting it ready to go in a very condensed period of time. And it really works, doesn't it?
It does, and I think the thing is when we talk about SMART goals, a lot of people, when they think about SMART goals, if they've been in the business world, they have thought of those in terms of business strategy and that kind of
Yeah.
thing. We are applying that same technique and that same strategy to writing your book, having a writing business, because we truly believe that if you are an author, then you are a business and you
Yeah.
need to have a strategy for that. So that's what we're doing. We've taken something from the business world, and we hope that authors and writers, and I say authors, but writers as well. If you're a blogger, if you're someone who's wanting to get into building a successful freelance business,
Mm.
in whatever way that you want to do your writing, we really encourage you to think about it as though you are a business. So
Yeah.
this is what we hope would be a benefit to you.
Sometimes we use these goal periods to do business type goals, marketing and that sort of thing. But usually we start off setting goals for just getting that book done. So if you feel like you're having a hard time getting traction, download this free PDF. It's pretty short. It's really just a guide to help you say, okay, I'm gonna get down my goals for this coming year. This is a great time to do it because it's the beginning of the year. It's called Move the Needle, 6 weeks to your next major accomplishment, and it's on writingmomentum.com. So grab that. Now let's talk about the different kinds of publishing, Gina, and how we can get published in 2023. So what's the first kind?
The first kind is the one that a lot of people think of, and that's the traditional publishers. Of the traditional large publishers, where you usually need an agent in order to even have anybody look at your manuscript. And so there's different kind of roadblocks, or maybe ways
Challenges?
that I say challenges, but it's
Yeah.
also ways that for them they're kind of narrowing down to make sure that they get a product on their desk that is really strong.
Yeah.
So you have to get an agent. So first enough, you have to get out of the agent slush pile to be considered to be represented.
Mm.
And usually the agents, when they accept your project, they will sometimes have something in mind of, I know there's this publisher that's looking for this kind of work. And so I think they might be interested in this. So that's where that goes. And then the agent will get it to the right editor, the right house, to hopefully get you the contract and the representation and everything that you need.
Yeah. So that's being published through a traditional publisher.
Mhm.
You might want to go down that route if you want to have someone else pretty much do the whole publishing process for you, except for write the book. A traditional publisher will help you do that. Now, the downside to it is that to get really noticed by a traditional publisher today, you already have to have an audience, right? A group of people who want to buy your book, very large group of people. They like social media numbers. They like you to be speaking a lot, and that it keeps a lot of us from maybe from entering that field. But if you are one of us who does that, then it'll work. And it's also a good way to get published if you have an in the industry, right? Someone you've got connections, or if you just attend a lot of writers' conferences, a lot of times you can sit down right across from an agent or an editor and pitch your book
Yeah.
and get published traditionally.
And that is the best way to do it. If you can
Yeah.
sit face to face with an agent or an editor and pitch your book, they can put a face to the name, they can put a personality to a
Hmm.
project. And there are times, I know, Chris, for you, and I think we've talked about this before, but you sat down across from the vice president of
Yep.
a well-known publishing house,
Yep.
pitched your book. He took it back to his editor and said, "We love this," and then came back to you and said what?
Said, "Hey, first of all," he said, "We love this. We're gonna fly you up to our place. You're gonna meet our marketing team. You're gonna pitch your book there and let them see what it is." So we did all that. They ended up buying it, and then after they ended up buying the book, they came back to me and said, "Okay, it's great. Now we just want you to change who all the characters are in the book and a bit of the book's plot." So sometimes that's
And
what
we want
happens.
you to add a whole subplot into
Yeah.
it because they were trying to make it work with an existing line.
Yeah.
And that's what happens with traditional publishers as
Hmm.
well. They may take your book exactly as is, but they may also say, "We love it." And like for Chris, they said, "We love your main character. We love the way you write. Here's how
Right.
we need you to change it and to make it work for us." And that was a whole rewrite for
Yeah.
you. It was worth it. You
Yeah.
ended up getting 8 books out of that,
Mm.
but they're the boss at that point, so they make that determination.
That's what happens when you go with traditional
Mhm.
publishers. And like we said, they take care of everything. Now, a balance between that and self-publishing, which we're going to talk about in a minute, are what we call hybrid publishers. Okay. A hybrid publishers is a second way to get published in 2023. And what a hybrid publisher does is they essentially, I like to say it like this, they will self-publish your book for you. Okay. So they go through and they'll format the book and they'll create the cover and they'll create the inside of the book and they'll put it out there to where it's available to the masses, not in the same way a traditional publisher will, where it's on bookstore bookshelves, but in a way that if you then can go out and let people know about it, you can sell it. So it's a way to essentially pay someone else to self-publish it for you. There's a lot of good hybrid publishers out there, and if you've got the means for that, the cash for it, and you want it on a silver platter, that is the way to do it. And there's nothing wrong with that. We know a lot of people who do that, but that's called hybrid publishing. Now, the third kind, which is probably my favorite right now, because this is where it seems like the publishing industry going, is self-publishing. What do you
What
think
we
about
also
self-publishing?
like to call independent publishing, and this is when you as the author are in the driver's seat.
Yes.
You are not only writing the project, but it's like the difference between if you're building a house and you hire a general contractor and he or she knows all the people. They already have the electricians, the plumbers, the drywallers, the painters, everything. That's the hybrid. But in the publishing world, if you were going to go independently, you are the general contractor.
Yes.
You are hiring the editors and you want it edited more than once, probably. You want it edited, you want it proofed. If you're in fiction, and we've talked about this, we probably need to have Renee Gutteridge on again to help us understand the different types of editors in the fiction
Yeah.
world. But you hire different types of editors, you hire proofers. It is all on you to make sure that it is a pristine project by the time it goes out the door. You're also hiring your designers, you're hiring your formatters.
Yeah.
But
Or doing it
again,
yourself.
or doing it yourself, and we do know people who have done it themselves. They've learned the products
Yeah.
or the software to do it. But again, you also still have the control of it. And the benefit of that on the other side is if you can sell it, you also get a bigger cut of the profit.
Yeah.
The profits are yours. After you pay your overhead and everything, the rest of it's yours. Where with a traditional publisher, you're going to be splitting that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll get about 15% of the sale
Off
as
of
opposed to
the
about
net
80%.
sale or
Yeah.
off of the off of the
Yeah.
net sale.
So 15% from traditional as opposed to about 80% from the self-publishing. Usually you get about 50 or 60% from hybrid publishers. Depends on there's a lot of different
Mhm.
kinds of hybrid publishers. So if you're willing to learn how to publish your own book, if you're willing to get into the details, if you like all the computers and the electronics and all that stuff, and you want to get into the apps and really do a lot of that formatting and that editing and that sort of thing yourself, or hire people to help you with it, and you're on a budget, self-publishing is very viable for you, or independent publishing. You can publish narrow through Kindle Direct Publishing, which is what a lot of authors do. It's very easy. It's about a 3-page process where you fill in the blanks as you upload your file, and then it's live. It's live within minutes after you upload it. And so it's really nice. Or if you want to publish wide, you can use a service like Direct Digital or Publish Drive, two very popular options. Also, personally, I like the simplicity of publishing narrow through KDP because everything's in one place and that's where most books are sold anyway. But whatever you choose,
Mhm.
you have options. You have options in 2023. If you want to publish your book, don't let yourself give yourself an excuse for why you can't be published this year. You absolutely can. Whether you go through traditional publishing, maybe go to a writer's conference, or if you've gotten in somewhere and you want to convince an editor or an agent that your book is worth publishing, and if they take you on, if you've got an audience, that may be the way to go. If you've got a bit of cash flow and you want to pay someone to do it for you, you can use hybrid publishers. Or if you want to do it yourself, you've got independent publishing. But all of them are viable options, and all of them are ways you can get published this year, aren't they?
Absolutely. This is such a great time for writers in general.
Hmm.
We have more options and we can pursue different things. We talk to people who are sold on traditional publishing. They think that traditional publishing is where it's at.
Yeah.
They feel like they've got a safety net there. They feel like the traditional publishers have the distribution channels in place, which is very true.
Yes.
We've also talked to people who said, I've got a really good mailing list. Why do I need to share my profits with a traditional publisher when they're pretty much just going to sell to my people anyway?
They're
So
gonna make you
then
market
they're
it anyway.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then we've also talked to other people who have said, I do need the safety net, but I still want the control. So I'm going to go hybrid. So I'm going to pay a place that already has editors and proofers and designers and formatters, and they have all of that. Some of them even have distribution channels. Check that out. And they say, I don't necessarily want to go traditional, but I don't necessarily want to go independent either. So they look for hybrids. The field is wide open for whatever your need is. And so I say go for it.
Go
Go
for it.
for it.
And so while you're planning, don't forget we have that really cool PDF on writingmomentum.com called Move the Needle. Go ahead and download that now. It's completely free. We created it because we want to help you get that book published, and we just love doing that. And you'll go ahead and get that, and you can fill in the blanks, and it really hopefully will help guide you along the way.
And it's a 6 week, but that's use it for 6 weeks and then you reuse it
And you
for
do it
6 weeks
again.
and you
Yeah.
reuse it for 6 weeks. This is a process that Chris has been using for a few years now
Yeah.
with one of his mastermind groups where they each set goals for 6 weeks. So this is a proven strategy for moving that needle and getting things done.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. If you've enjoyed this podcast today, will you please rate, review, subscribe to it so you never miss another one, and share it with another writer? Let them know that we're out here, that we're helping, and let them know what this podcast means to you, because that's how we can help more writers get their message out there. And that's what this is all about. And I guess that's it. We
Yes,
look
that's it.
forward to, the next 2 weeks are going to be really fun. Gina and I are each going to talk about how we write books, the tools and apps that we use to get our stuff done. What's really neat about it is that we go about our writing in almost completely different ways. We use different apps, we use different techniques. I definitely get a lot more into a lot of the apps than Gina does. And yet we both get our writing done, don't we? It's interesting to see how different people do this kind of thing. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and subscribe today so that you can hear those episodes. And
And I will say it's not just it's not just for book writing.
oh yeah.
Chris and I do a lot of writing. We do ghost writing. We do marketing writing.
Mhm.
We do blogging. We do a lot of different types of writing. So when we're talking about the apps that we use or the systems that we use, we're going to be sharing those with you. But don't think that, oh, I don't have a book, so that doesn't apply to me. Trust me,
Okay.
I live my most of my work that I do is not book work.
Yeah.
Most of it is our smaller projects that I have to work through.
And
Some larger, but a lot of them are smaller. And so I'm going to share how I use or what I use and how I use it to get my work done.
and we'll even share some of the apps we use for marketing. So please go ahead and listen. We look forward to joining with you again next week. And just remember that we got to keep doing this together because together, what, Gina?
We have writing momentum.
Bye bye.